Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to our virtual classroom. Today, we're going to be starting something relatively new, which is our first lesson on statistical, what's the word? Statistical measurements, statistical analysis, that's the word, statistical analyses. And today, if we're going to do anything, I want you to understand the concept of variability. And that word should seem familiar since it draws its roots from the same word as a variable, which, as we know, a variable is a letter or symbol that can vary, that can be different depending on the situation. We can see countless examples. If we use the letter X a lot, and we know that the letter X, or really any letter that we use, any variable, is going to be different depending on the problem, depending on the situation. And so variability has to do with things that can differ from person to person. Well, let's get into it. Before we get started talking about variability, I want you to look at these survey questions that we have here on the first page of our notes. We have gender, eye color, height, how many people usually live in your home, etc. And the idea is that we would be asking these questions to a group of people, like a classroom, or the entire population of a school. And each one of these questions, ladies and gentlemen, represents what is known as a statistical question. A statistical question, which is a question that will produce answers that will vary, like variability, that will vary from person to person, or from situation to situation. So that word vary can mean that will be different, or they will differ. We will differ from person to person. And so knowing that, we can see that all of these questions are statistical questions. They can potentially have a different answer from person to person. For example, gender. Now, if we keep this as basic as possible, let's say that gender has two potential answers, boy or girl. Eye color might have 6 to 8 answers, and there could be brown, blue, black, hazel, green, etc. Okay, so you have different answers, potential answers per person. Height, obviously, if I were to line up all my students from shortest to highest, there's going to be a lot of different measurements. And so the idea here is that all of these questions can potentially have different answers per person, but some of these might have more variability, more potential answers than others. For example, gender has very little variability because there's only maybe 2 different genders. Okay, eye color might have, let's say, 6 to 8 different eye colors, but height, man, it depends. There's going to be a lot of variability, a lot of different answers because it depends on the number of students. They're all probably going to be a different height. Even if there's a couple students that have the same height, for the most part, there's going to be a lot of difference, a lot of variability in the answers to that survey question. How many people live in your household, in your home, including yourself? There can be maybe like 5 or 6 different answers. Like I could see students that have only 2 people in their household, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 7, let's say 8. So that's only 7 different answers. So there's more variability than the first 2 questions, but as you can see, there's more potential different answers. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, again, all of these questions are answers that can potentially have a different answer. They are all known as what? They are all known as statistical questions, questions that will produce answers that will be different, that will vary from situation to situation. Now, as we just saw, different statistical questions will have a different degree of variability, which is our second definition, which is how many different answers a question is going to have, a statistical question is going to have. Gender, 2, maybe 3 different answers. Eye color, 6, maybe 8 different potential answers, etc. However, there are such things as questions that are not statistical questions. For example, if those of you who are my students, if they were to ask you, what is your teacher's age? Well, my age is 32 years old. In the moment that they ask you that question, there's only one right answer. So that is not a statistical question. If I were to ask my students here at Ornado, hey, what school do you go to? That is not a statistical question because again, there's going to be no variability. There's no possible way that students at Ornado will belong to any other school but Ornado. However, if you were to go to the outlet mall and ask all the students that you may see walking by, hey, what school do you go to? You are going to get varied, different answers. There's going to be a higher degree of variability. And so here are a few examples of statistical questions that you might pose. Do you play Minecraft at least once a week? There's not a lot of variability in that question because it's just yes or no. There is a little bit of variability, and it is definitely a statistical question because there might be different answers, yes or no. What were the students' scores for the last exam? The last exam may have been a hard exam, and so therefore the scores are going to be very different. There's going to be a lot of different potential answers to that question. If I were to ask each of my students, hey, what was your score? Hey, what was your score? Hey, what was your score? So therefore, there's going to be a lot of variability. How many books do you read per month? In middle school, let's be honest here, probably not a lot of variability in that statistical question. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully as you can look at the problems in your assignment, you can begin to see the difference between a statistical question and one that is not a statistical question. And within statistical questions, hopefully you can see that some of them will have a lot of variability and some will have very little variability depending on maybe even the group of people that you're asking. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next time.